Good morning. You're tuned into Ask Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary, and for the next 30 minutes, I'll take all your stock-related questions. To write to us, you can either message us on the WhatsApp number that will be on your screen, or you can write to us on any of our social media channels. I'll also be tracking the YouTube live chat, so you can write your questions there as well. Now, before we jump into the questions, let me introduce you to the guests for today. We have Saurabh Jain of SMC Global and Ajit Mishra, who will be joining us soon of Religare Broking. Welcome, Saurabh, and Ajit will be joining us soon as well. Now, before we talk about the focus and the questions, let's take a quick check on the markets and where we are at for ABB India. Now, Saurabh, I'd like to understand from you. We've seen Q4 results. We're seeing great momentum in terms of the order book as well. From a longer term perspective, what would you suggest somebody holding an ABB, and what are your key takeaways from the results as well?
Hi, good morning. See, capital good industry is surely on an uptake. I mean, see the companies, they are having a good intake of order book, and the execution is doing even faster. Most of the corporates are now, going for expansion, and here in the picture comes ABB. It's a kind of a portfolio stock. The margin expansion is happening, double-digit kind of a revenue growth is there. And in fact, I think going next year, I think things will move much faster. So I think one who has it should keep it in the portfolio.
Okay, understood. On a bank as well, we're talking about HDFC Bank. This one's from KN Raju. They want to know if they should invest at current levels for HDFC Bank. It's down about 0.5% in trade today. We've seen some downturn in the stock for HDFC Bank. Sort of from a long-term perspective, would you suggest buying at these levels?
See, if you look at the valuation, I think it looks very interesting, but it's kind of a contrarian bet as of now. I think the company will take approximately 6-9 months to, because of that merger, to shed high cost of deposit and to bring deposits to CASA, bring CASA back to the level it enjoys before merger. And the management has also categorically said that they will go slow on the advances side of the book. So I think as of now, it is a contrarian kind of a call. If you have a horizon of more than 2-3 years, then you can chip in a staggered manner to buy in, thin quantities. Otherwise, wait for 6-9 months, and then when the things will improve, the balance sheet will improve, the CASA will improve, and things will be better. Then you also can enter.
Okay, Ajit, a question from Mohit from Ludhiana. He's talking about Coal India. He's already bought the stock at 152 levels. It's considerably higher from that point, but post its earnings, Saurabh, we've seen the stock declining. There's some contraction in the e-auction premiums. But from a longer term perspective, Mohit's time horizon is about 2 years. Would you suggest holding on to this? And what kind of upside do you see in the stock as well?
I think it belongs to metal and mining, and here the prices do makes a very meaningful impact on the numbers, on the operating margins and the profitability. The stock has already gained multifold. I mean, from 100 odd level to 200 odd level, now it has been above 400. I think it is a time to take profits from the table, since the company has categorically said that the e-auction prices have dropped down significantly. In my opinion, I think the stock can cool down further. So better take profits from the table and invest in the sector like we like IT sector, and we think it can be a dark horse for the year. And even the banking stocks, I think he can shift money towards banking and IT.
Understood. Next up, we're talking about Tata Teleservices. This one's from Sanjay. We have a question from Tarun Agarwal, and he's talking about JSW Infra and Vedanta. Is it a buy at current levels is the question. They haven't mentioned if this is for the longer term or the shorter term. But Saurabh, considering what we're seeing in metals today, from a longer term perspective, should you get into the stock?
Is not the best one among the metal names. I think it is better to avoid because of the huge debt pile on the balance sheet, and the rating agencies have also been closely watching the numbers. Regarding the JSW Infra, I think it can be a good bet. I think buy in a stagger.
From a shorter term perspective, Ajit, let's quickly dive into the questions. The next one is coming from Sagar, that he's talking about Alembic Pharma. He holds a significant quantity from, he says, less than 500 levels. The stock has doubled from that. Sort of from a longer term perspective, should you book some profits and maybe keep holding on to the original quantity, or should you keep holding on to it because there's more upside left? What's the long-term perspective on this one? And talk to us a little bit about pharma on the whole as a pack as well.
See, if you talk about the pharma as a whole, I think the pressures which were there in the US and Europe markets, many of the companies are feeling that they are abating somewhat. And many of the Indian pharmaceutical companies are venturing into the newer verticals. If you look at the APL numbers also, the last quarter's numbers were very interesting. I mean, they saw double-digit kind of a growth. There was an improvement in the margins also. The company is also venturing into the therapeutic areas, if I remember correctly. And the management is quite confident of for the good growth going forward. So I think we have a very constructive view, especially on the APL, Alembic Pharmaceutical. And we believe that it can be a very good bet if one holds for another 1 year or 2 years. So I think 20-30% kind of a return one can generate easily in this year. So it's a hold from me.
Ajit, question from Pranay Mitra, and here now we're talking about some PSU stocks like RVNN and IRFC for the longer term perspective. We've already seen a run up in these stocks, Saurabh, but it seems like a lot of viewers now want to get into the stock. Would you suggest getting at these levels, or do you think the valuations are expensive at this point?
See, while the companies are good, they have good order book, but at these valuations, it's a simply no for investing in these companies. I mean, they can correct very steeply. I mean, they still have to prove their matter, and many of the businesses are in the B2B business, in which margin expansion is very margin expansion would be very trickier for them. I think so. We are not recommending these stocks.
All right. Just taking this forward, you have another question from Nilu Das from Kolkata, and he wants to know if they want to get into railway stocks. Is there anything within the sector that you would suggest?
I think we can't suggest any of these stocks because many of the companies are good, but the valuations are extremely high.
Okay, so, are you saying is it too late to get into railway stocks?
Of course. In my opinion, I think IT sector is a good sector which one can look upon. I think all the three biggies, Infosys, TCS, HCL, one can look for the long term.
All right, fair point. Next up, we are talking about LIC now. This one's from Muralidharan as well, and LIC is on the minds of a lot of viewers. We've seen the levels cross above 1,000, sorry, and now viewers are asking about should they wait to sell the stock till it crosses 2,000 levels. Do you see that trajectory the longer term, Saurabh? I'll come to you, Ajit, on this one as well.
I think it is very difficult to take up all of whether it can reach 2,000 levels or not, because valuations are also high. See, LIC have made good money because of the huge run up in the market. That is what the prices are discounting. If any kind of corrections do comes in the market, we'll see the same kind of a correction in the LIC prices too. So on the valuation front, I think it's priced to perfection. So it's very difficult to take up.
Next up, we're talking about Jio Finance, and this comes from Manish, and they've bought the shares at 265 levels. Saurabh, from a longer term perspective, how does Jio Finance look? We've seen a good amount of traction in the sector.
See, from the long-term perspective, I think it comes from the Reliance camp, and the company has huge plans. And I don't think so that they would take much time, especially after the Paytm problem that we have just seen. So I think from the long-term perspective, Jio Financial makes sense.
All right, fair point. We're getting a lot of questions on HDFC. Questions, Saurabh. This one's from Raghuram Patro, and they're talking about Orient Green that they bought at 22 and Adani Power that they bought at 300 levels. Talk to us a little bit about their long-term perspective, and should you continue holding on to both of these two?
The power sector overall outlook looks quite interesting. I mean, the last year we saw 10-12% kind of volume growth. In previous year also we saw that kind of a growth, and this year also I think the government focus and the way the companies are planning to enhance their capacities. I think it's paying its dividend. Among the power sector, we are quite focused on the companies like NTPC, NHPC, SJVN. We find those stocks are quite interesting.
So NTPC is one of the picks. We had a question on NTPC as well. But don't worry, we'll take it tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're completely out of time today. Thank you so much, Saurabh and Ajit, for joining in and for answering so many questions for us. And viewers, stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.